I am on the road, and this is episode, I think, 42.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, this is Will Sinclair, and you're listening to The Real Truth About You. I'm actually on the road right now. That's the beauty of being able to use an iPhone and a microphone that plugs right into your iPhone. You can podcast just about anywhere you want to go. So, I'm at that point again. I remember probably 30 episodes ago, or even more, 35 episodes ago, I used to say, I don't know what I'm going to say today. And I used to find that pick up the microphone and you just talk, and there you go, something comes out. So that's basically what I'm going to do today. I am on the road. I am halfway between my appointments ever since I got cancer, which I've been basically cured from. It's just a long recovery process, and I'm really blessed by that and grateful for that. I just got doctor follow-ups and a few little complications and things like that, but nothing major, and just getting checkups. So I just got some checkups done in the city today, which is 2 hours away from where I live, and Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, which is kind of like west of central in Canada. And got some doctor's appointment today. Good news that my lungs are good. That's always good news. Yeah, we're good for breathing. And so I'm staying in Regina at my son's place. So you might hear here and there, he's got 2 cats. He's out at work right now. And so you might hear a few little things happening in the background and some city noise. But it's really cool being able to sit here with an iPhone and an app called Boss Jock Studio. You can get it for about like $10. And I have the microphone for about $120. And it plugs right into the iPhone. And you can podcast from anywhere. I'm just hand-holding my microphone. And tomorrow I head off to Saskatoon, which is another city more northwest of where Regina is. So that's like 5 hours from where I live. And going to see my surgeon for a follow-up and see where that goes. So anyway, now what are we going to talk about today? What am I doing? What I've been doing, I didn't podcast last week. You probably figured that one out. I didn't bring anything out last week. I didn't have the greatest week, but I just didn't bring out a podcast. Sorry about that. Anyway, not that if this is like a month from now that you really care, just maybe those from last week may have been listening and never heard anything from me. So here's a podcast this week. Hopefully I get it out. I'm actually on the road till probably Wednesday. I'll return back to my home in the bush at Kenosha Lake, Saskatchewan, which is... can you say Saskatchewan? I bet you can't even spell it. And it's one of those names that when you talk to Americans or talk to anybody that's not from Canada, they always Saskatchewan. It's Saskatchewan. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm living anyway. I'm originally from Scotland. So what am I doing? I am writing a book. Yes, I am. I started writing a book a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of was trying to figure out what's the message of the book. Why would I write a book? Why would I add another book to collect dust on another shelf or on another iPod or another Kindle or whatever? Why would I write a book? And I figured, well, I'm going to write a book about me. So it's kind of like a sort of an autobiography, and it's kind of like my life and where I was and where I am today, and the kind of viewpoints I have today, the viewpoints I had back then. It's a bit of a funny book. It kind of brings out some of my humor and some of my weird humor that my wife rolls her eyes to. And people say to her all the time, you must be in hysterics with him at home, and she just rolls her eyes, and they go, yeah, I guess. So anyway... Yeah, nothing new to her, but it might be new to you. So anyway, I haven't decided what to call the book yet. I've come up with probably about 20 titles. Usually you come up with the introduction and the title right at the end. The title kind of writes itself from the book, or you write something that really sparks out. But it's a story about my journey, and originally born in Scotland, and I was actually going to record it primarily first and just bring it out as an audio. And I thought, no, there's something about writing that makes me more precise and concise in what I say. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm writing it all down. I've written a book before, a couple of books actually, one that I published and one that I didn't. The one that I published was the one I co-authored with my wife. It's a whole series of articles that we wrote for a newspaper column, a weekly relationships newspaper column, and it's called Dirty Socks and Banana Bread. And we did that column for 4 years, and we just rewrote some of it and fine-tuned it, and then added some chapters and some intros and things, and put it all into a book. And we self-published that book, and it's available on Amazon, and people are actually buying it. I can't say they're running there to go get it. That's probably my biggest downfall. I'm really good at making product, but really lousy at the marketing end. So we'll see what happens with this one. So if anybody out there markets, then maybe let me know. Support at therealtruthaboutyou.com. I've also thought about coming out with another podcast that may be in line with this book, but I don't know whether to do that or not, because then every time you make a product, you make another different podcast that you keep going. So I might just tag it on to this one. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing right now. So when I can't sleep at night, I pull out the laptop, of which I got a new laptop. It's a Dell i5 5000 series laptop, and I really like it. It's one of the fastest ones. I went to in Saskatchewan in Canada. You probably have it elsewhere in the world, maybe, but Best Buy is a company that it's an electronics store, and they have like huge department type electronics store, and they're all across Canada, and they're probably across the US. I don't know, but anyway, they have a huge store in Regina, and I was here at a doctor's appointment last week also. And I did the Sheldon from the Big Bang thing. I don't know if you've ever watched Big Bang Theory and Sheldon. And Sheldon's got a very unique personality. If you haven't ever seen the show, you have to watch it at least once so you can see tall Sheldon and his personality. He has his own spot on the couch, and he has his own way of looking at life and things, and everything has to be the way he thinks it should be, or else why not? Right? And it's just, my wife said, oh my gosh, I married Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory. And I got to tell you, I was in this electronics store, and I was shopping for a laptop. And, well, actually, what I'd done was I'd saved up money, and people had given me some money for my birthday, Christmas, and I think just recently. And plus, if somebody paid me for something, I kind of put it away. And I was saving up actually to buy some more podcasting equipment. But my wife was like, you know what? Like, I tend to use cheaper, older stuff, and my laptops are dying out on me and that kind of stuff. And she says, why don't you go get a new laptop? You've been saving up, and I had about $800 saved up. And so I went to the store to look for a laptop, and I had a doctor's appointment later that afternoon, and I ended up in this store just by myself, and probably the way my wife likes it. She wasn't with me at the time, but because I drive her crazy, because what I did was this: I went through every single laptop, and I typed on it, and I opened programs, and I closed programs, and then I whittled it down to like 10, then I whittled that down to 5, and I whittled that down to 2, and it was between this Dell and something else, and Asus, I think it was. And I didn't like the keyboard in the Asus laptop as well. It was a little bit more raised, and I'm a writer also. I love audio, so I love podcasting and that kind of stuff. I love audio gear, right? And that was my other choice, to buy some more audio gear. And for mobile use and whatnot. But anyway, I whittled it down to 2 laptops, and I had like 10 minutes before I had to go for my doctor's appointment in my hospital. It was a test at the hospital I was getting done. And anyway, it's funny because when you don't need a salesperson, they're all around you. You know, is there anything I can help you with, sir? Right? No, I'm just looking right now. Anything else I can help you with? No, it's good. Then, 5 minutes later, somebody else. And there's 3 people in the 2 hours that came up to see if I needed any help. And I like to just do my own thing unless I have questions, right? And I know a fair bit about computers, so I'm just whittling it down. I finally got it down to 2 laptops that are really like, after almost 2 hours of looking and searching and checking which one's opens faster and which one's got this hard drive and which one's got that. And it was really the Sheldon. If you ever seen Sheldon and the Big Bang, you totally understand this. And finally I decided, okay, the Dell didn't sound as good, at least in the store. It didn't sound, and I love awesome sound. And so that kind of put me off of it a little bit. And then I went to try this Asus computer that I didn't like the keyboard as much, and the controls a little bit more clunkier, and it just seemed a little cheaper, but it was $300 off, so it was $600 and some, and the Dell was $700 and something. And so I finally, I'm going to get the Asus computer because it's got awesome sound on it. And I went to try and find a salesperson, and I could not find a salesperson to save my life. I was like, oh, come on, I got like 10 minutes. I got to be back in my vehicle and driving off to this hospital for these tests. And I couldn't find, and finally I found somebody, and they came over and they checked, and they didn't have it. They didn't even have it in the store. They didn't. I've been spending almost 2 hours looking at these laptops and finally got down to 1 laptop, and they didn't even have it in stock. And I was like, oh, so I didn't even check on the other one. And then, but I did notice she had checked an app on her phone to find out if they had it in the store or not. So I just boogied into my vehicle and off I went to the hospital. And while I was waiting in between these tests, I thought, well, I'm going to download this app. So I downloaded the Storage app. And then I'd already, remember, I'm a bit of a nerd this way. I'd taken pictures of the model numbers and everything. Those little ticket cards that come beside the computer, tells you what's in it and all that. I'd taken pictures of that, so I knew what this Dell was, this Dell computer. And so I punched it in to the app, Store app, and it says, oh, they have it in the Regina store. Would you like to reserve it? And I'm like, what? I can reserve it? I said, yeah, you can reserve it for 24 hours. So that's what I did. I reserved it, and on the way out, I went and picked it up. And I thought, holy cow. And of course, I tell everybody else, did you know that you can, and everybody's like, yeah, that's just commonplace now. I'm like, oh, I never knew that. And I didn't know that even existed. So I got this new laptop, and that's the story about my laptop. So now it's like, I got to figure out all the programs that from the old one that was that was using and start adding them to this one. And this is a really nice laptop, and I'm really grateful for it. And my kids gave me money to help buy it and whatnot. And the next thing, it's the first brand new laptop I've ever, well, I can't say that. I've bought other ones before, but this is the first really good brand new laptop I've ever bought. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing all my work on that, and I'm writing my book with that. And I don't know if any of you guys are writers, but I actually bought a program. It's called Scrivener. I don't have it right in front of me. SC Rivener. Scrivener is the name of the program, and it's a program just for writing books and long essays and just long pieces of writing, and it really helps you organize your entire book. And I just love it because it works the way my mind works. Like, so I can write sections and not have to worry about, when we wrote our first book, I did it in Microsoft Word, and I had to figure out, okay, what's going to come before this piece and what's going to come after that piece. And if I wanted to move it, I had to copy and paste, and I had to be sure this is what I want to do, because it's really hard. difficult to move things around. But with this Scrivener program, it's like it's like tons of little notebooks, but they're chapters and they're scenes, and it's for writing any kind of book, whether it's fiction, non-fiction, or an essay or an article or anything like that. And you can keep all your research in certain folders all within the app that you can just like grab so easily and quickly. And then if I wanted to move a chapter around, say I was writing something and I want to move that chapter before something else or whatever, or write 5 introductions because I'm not sure which one I want to use, then I can do that, and then I can eliminate the ones I don't want or move one around. Or I can create within each chapter, I can create little not sub chapters, but they're called scenes. And I can write little pieces and move those around in the chapter, or take it out of the chapter altogether and put it into another chapter. It's like really cool. And it has a cork board in it that tracks everything for you and shows you everything at a glance where you're at. Are you at the first draft? Are you just writing it? Have you not even started that part yet? And I can throw ideas in. It's just like, if you're a book writer, if you thought about writing a book, it's the actual site that you go to is called Literature and Latte. Latte as in the drink, right? So literatureandlatte.com. And you can download a full functioning 30-day, it's not a consecutive 30 days, it's non-consecutive. So every time you open it, each new day that you open it, that's part of the 30 days. So you can actually have the program free for like 90 days if you only open it every third day or something like that, right? Or you could open it and leave it open for a week, and that only counts as one day, because it's when you close it and then you open it and another date evolves, then that's classed as another day. So it's pretty cool, and it's a really cool app, and there's lots of courses out there for it, and there's lots of YouTube videos on how to do Scrivener, and it's a really cool app. And if I get a chance to, I'll put it on my blog site, therealtruthaboutyou.com. And I realize that I've been kind of not on the topic of the real truth about you, about your inner self, your inner peace. But you know what? I'm on the road and I'm just talking. I want to get a podcast out, maybe just for the sake of it. Yeah, but I really enjoy just doing this. I love to talk to you, and I love to sit and chat. And if I was sitting with you around the kitchen table, which actually I am right now, I'm at my son's kitchen table that he made by hand. He's a carpenter, and so he made this beautiful cedar type of kitchen table. So it's like a cross between a picnic table and a real table, and it's just gorgeous. He'll make it for you, by the way, if you want. But anyway, I'm at the kitchen table. If you were around the kitchen table and I was just sitting yakking with you about something I'm excited about, this is what I'd be talking about. So writing a book with Scrivener, it's just awesome on my new Dell laptop, and just loving it. And actually, I've got a friend here, Kenneth Kerr, and he's just finishing up a book. And his book, I'll probably promote it when it comes out. It's pretty cool. It's like a 365-day book that you can journal in, you can memo in, and every day it has a whole like half a page or a whole section or something inspirational that's really deep, and it will move you forward in your life, and it's pretty cool. So that book's going to be coming out probably at the end of January 2017. And so on this episode 42, I'll probably, or maybe as soon as it comes out, so probably another few episodes, few podcasts yet. So yeah, and then I'll let you know when my book is done, and that'll be something else that can gather dust on the shelf. But I'm excited to write it. I'm having a lot of fun writing it, actually, because it's like walking down memory lane, and I've had quite a journey. I've had quite a journey in my life, and I'd really like to share that with you. So anyway, that's what that is. And so look at that. Almost 20 minutes have gone by, and I didn't have a thing to say when I first started. I'm just watching these cats. My kids love cats. I got 4 kids. My oldest daughter is actually allergic to cats, and she's due to have a baby actually coming the end of March. around March 22nd, so that's pretty exciting. But my other kids, they just she's allergic to cats, but my other kids just love cats and dogs. And so my son and his new wife, they have 2 cats. One disappeared for about 3 or 4 days, and they were like panic stricken as to where this cat was. And then she came back. It was just hilarious, and no worse for wear. Just like it was another day coming back home. It was just funny. I'd love to see through that cat's eyes where it went. And but anyway, so what else? I'm really excited about the direction my life is going in. I'm really excited that I actually made a post on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, and I talked about the church is going to be basically turned upside down, rebuilt, a new foundation, and all that kind of stuff. And I did mention that we are the church, we are the people, right? And the church, we often look at churches as buildings, but that's not really the case. Or we look at churches as being institutions, but that's not the case. Also, we are the church, right? We are the body, and that's what I was talking about. Basically, I got a lot of comments on it, and you would need to read it. Look me up, William Sinclair, on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, if you want me to add you, just go ahead and say add me, and I'm pretty good at adding people. And you'll be able to see that post. It was made on January the 1st, and it was I felt like I was meant to, like I was divinely inspired to post this as a public declaration of my life and where my life is going and what I want to be involved with in my life, and that's to help people transform. And I really believe for the last 30 years something has been happening. Something has been happening, and if you're a God person, a divine person or whatever, there's something happening, and it's a connection that's happening with the divine. And it's like, it's not anything new, but it's new for us, because it's going back to the way it used to be, the way when everything was first created, when humans first evolved, came to be, however you want to talk about it, when human beings first came to be, right? How when creation was formed, that oneness with everything, that level of consciousness, that connection, that communication, the power that came from that, everything. And I believe that we're being called back to that we're being recalled. I actually thought in the 30 years I was getting all these messages that it was in my Judeo-Christian Catholic terms, remember, because that's the language I use. And I've already said before, you can't let language limit you, but you've only got what you've got, right? So you can only use what you've got. And I believed, and still do to some degree as far as language goes, is that God, the divine, is regathering together all of God's family. And I'm not talking about just the Christians. And I'm talking about anybody and everybody, whether you're a Muslim, a Hindu, or a Jain, or you don't believe in anything really, right? Or you believe in the universe, or you believe, and there's nothing. I'm not being judgmental about any of that. I'm not making any say about any of that, because I am discovering there is more to God, whom I call God, than I could ever imagine. And as soon as we start to put limits or boxes around God, we limit God. In fact, as soon as we call God a name or call God, we start to limit who God is and our understanding. But this new level of consciousness that we're all being called to, I mean, all of us are being called to this, right? This new inner peace, this new inner joy, this strength, this knowledge that comes beyond understanding, where I've said this before because this applies to my life so big. Like, it's like before I knew that I knew, then it was like no answer was enough for me. I asked and asked and asked, and one question led to another. But when I got to this new, and I'm not saying that I have acquired it, I am on, like, this is something you live and you learn, right? You go and you have to live it. You realize you've been there all along, but you've just never realized it. So you come into this realization, you rediscovery, right, of where you are already. You know, you haven't actually left. You just, new eyes, fresh eyes. But this new level of consciousness, no answer is needed. It's like, it's a level of connecting to the divine, to God, to living in harmony, to a oneness, to a unity. And don't let language hold you back. Don't let the language of anything hold you back and say, oh, that's New Age. Oh, consciousness? Oh, that's New Age. I'm a Christian. I'm not that, you know. And I've heard so many questions coming about, no, it's all about calming the mind, right? It's what happens between thoughts, that little space that can expand. That's where that consciousness comes. So anyway, that's what I'm excited about. It's where my life is heading more and more as I develop and I become more aware. Like I've already said, Richard Rohr says, you become what you already are, right? And I've already said too myself, it's not a journey of distance where you get from the beginning to the end, right? And it's where you start and then all of a sudden, it's like an aha moment. It's like you start to see with fresh eyes what was already there in the first place that you've covered up. I keep talking about this all the time. But this is the state that we're meant to be in. This is the state where we're getting called to be. And you can tell if you're in that level of consciousness or not. Because look at how you react to things and respond to things. Do you get angry quickly? Do you live in that anger? Do you get mad at somebody? Like, oh my God, they cut me off in traffic. I can't believe it. That's what I hate about people that do this, blah, 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 blah. And you just live there. And you don't even realize you're doing it. Or do you realize that you're doing it? If you realize that you're doing it, you're already aware. You've already ascended into a new level of consciousness right there. And as you develop that consciousness, as you become more and more open to that, and to the divine, to God, whatever you want to call, allowing yourself to be open to that, to be transformed by that light, then you'll notice that you don't get angry, or you don't get really mad at something really fast, or when a situation arises, you just deal with it. Whereas before you used to get mad. My friend Tammy Dovell, she said she moved from her, or I called her, she moved from a plate thrower to a peacemaker. She used to be she said, I used to throw plates at my husband. I used to be angry, and that's what I used to do. But now, different. Peacemaker. And unbelievably so, Tammy Dovell. Go to her website, tammydovell.com. TAMID for David. OVELL.com. tammydovell.com. Amazing things that's happening. She's curing and healing people. Like the divine, her God is working through her. Unbelievably. People are almost flocking to her door to be healed, to come into a wholeness, to be transformed, to come into that awakening. She leads meditations and all kinds of stuff, and it's just like she's a major influence in my life. I have to say that. She's a major influence in my life. And before, I would have called her a kooky New Age lady, somebody that's into voodoo. All right, so I am going to hang up now because I can see my son coming home from work. So it's been great to have you here. My name is Will Sinclair, and you go to therealtruthaboutyou.com and you can download more episodes and do all kinds of stuff. And so I just want to let you know that I love you tons. You guys absolutely rock. and we'll see you on the next episode. Remember, therealtruthaboutyou.com, and you can contact us on the contact page there. Leave comments if you want. Love to hear from you. Love you lots, and you guys absolutely rock.